Track our phones? I guess so, I answered, starting to understand what Destiny was getting at. But there might be a problem, I wonder. Problem? What are you talking about? She asked with some worry in her voice. Adelyn, the boss, she's not Jose's biggest fan. She probably kinda hates him a little at this point. I explained very carefully to the angry vampire. She might not care all that much, honestly. In fact, I think there's a whole clause in the rider agreement that says if we die on the job, it's not her problem. Well, we'll have to try, Abigail suddenly argued as she stood up and trounced over to join the rest of us. Just call her. Either of you. I don't care which, she demanded as she looked over at me and Madison. Now! I'm sorry, but I can't just hand out user information like that, Adelyn said in a voice that finally made me realize what he meant when he described it as a poisoned apple. You'll just have to figure something else out, I'm afraid. I could see almost everyone else in the room shifting anxiously as she spoke. I set it to speaker and sat it on the coffee table. We all stood there staring at it as we tried to figure out what to do next. Will that be all? Adelyn asked impatiently from her end of the line. Please, Miss Adelyn, you don't understand how worried we all are right now. If you just... I tried again to plead, but she sharply cut me off. That's not my problem. That's not the company's problem. That's your problem, she snapped. The entire reason those fees you get are so substantial is precisely because of the risk of the job. I can't get myself bent out of shape every time one of you goes missing. It comes with the job description. After that, Destiny tried to speak up. I didn't want to have to do this, but do you know who my father is? She asked Adelyn. Sweetie, I don't know and I don't care. Nepotism isn't going to get you anywhere with me. It's best you just let this go and hope Jose turns up soon. I didn't know what to say. I couldn't think straight, I was so mad. And everyone else there was too. Abigail looked like she was about to vapor lock. The look on Destiny's face could have curdled milk. And then I looked over at Relic, who'd been sitting quietly for the last few minutes. Hoped he wasn't about to accidentally nuke the entire apartment building. And then the last thing I expected happened. Now you listen here, Goldilocks! Madison suddenly shouted into the phone as she snatched it off the table. You tell us where Jose's phone is right now! She screamed at Adelyn. Excuse me? No, you shut the fuck up and listen! Madison cut her off. Every last bit of your cash that you get from this area, from those deliveries, you built that on Jose's back. He's the one that ran around building up the businesses around here. He's the one that made every single delivery for you back and forth across LA night after night after night before you got more riders on the payroll. He did this. He's the reason this business of yours grew so fast. And what's more, he could have sold every one of your secrets down the river if he wanted to. Every last one of them. And he didn't, and people he cared about died because of that. Him protecting you isn't part of the job description, you slimy bitch. And how do you thank him for taking another risk by telling you about everything? You dock his pay and send him headfirst into all the most dangerous deliveries. Jose has been working the most dangerous runs and making the least money of any of us since then. He comes in every night, barely able to walk, new cuts and scratches, clothes torn to shit, all because you got a chip on your shoulder. You owe Jose! She bellowed into the phone, making us all freeze in place during the dead silence that followed. A few seconds later, my phone beeped with a text message. It was coordinates to Jose's phone. And after another pause, Adelyn's voice came through again. And Madison, you're Eat shit, I'm not fucking fired! I quit! Madison interrupted before hanging up on her. Rotten bitch! Ugh! All of us could do was stand there around her, wide-eyed in amazement at the unexpected outburst, until I managed to work out. That was so cool. But your job? Oh, right. I groaned when I looked over and saw Louie in the group. Don't sweat it. I'll be fine. Now let's go find out what happened to Jose, Madison announced on her way out the door. Just wait for it, I told everyone once she was gone. Give her a second. Just realized I don't got a clue where the hell I'm going. There it is, I gloated once she came sliding back in. So how do we get there? I asked, knowing time could be running out.
Give me your phone,
Relic suddenly said to me as he held out his hand.
Where is this? What's something around this area I'd know?
He questioned as me and Madison grabbed our bikes. That's Elysian Park, Destiny answered when she looked at the map. That's not she tried to say, but before she could finish, we were all standing in a small clearing surrounded by trees. Half of us had our phones out, and the flashlights turned on so we could see where we were, except for Abigail and Destiny, who could both see in the dark. I wanted to say something, but at that point, all our eyes were locked on the same thing. The body lying under one of the nearby trees. Our light illuminated the red stains covering the dirty white shirt. That's Jackal? Jackal, are you okay? What happened? Destiny shouted as she ran over to him. Is he? I started to ask, but the words hung in my throat before I could finish. He's alive-ish, Destiny answered as she looked him over. It looks like he may have taken some of his hide stuff. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't be. He's really messed up, she called back to us as she waved us over. Oh, Jesus, I've never seen him like this, Abigail said in shock as she looked down at him. He's sturdy. What was he doing in the park with Jose? And where's Jose? She asked, looking around, her yellow eyes shimmering in the dark as they darted around the clearing. Hey, look at this over here, Louis suddenly said, holding something over his head. Think it's his phone. I mean, you're weird if it wasn't, right? Aw, his lock screen's a picture of you, Destiny. You took one while you were asleep. And drooling. No time for that, Destiny shouted as she snatched the phone from his hands. Now where is he if his phone is here? She asked with a sense of urgency. I ain't sure, but I think we should probably do something about your friend over here. You know, before we can't. Madison interrupted, tilting her head up towards the unconscious Jackal. Henry, we're gonna get you taken care of, okay? Abigail spoke down to him before turning to look at Relic. Hey, we need to get back to the manor. We'll find Jose, I promise, she assured him, breaking him away from his anxious shuffling around the clearing as he searched desperately for his missing best friend. Then he suddenly stopped to look at something in a nearby bush before he reached in and pulled out part of Jose's bike. It had been broken completely in half. Hephaestus made that bike. Things he make don't just break, Abigail said in a grim voice. I really don't like any of this. As she spoke, Relic was searching through the bushes for the other half. Then, once he found it, we all circled around him to leave. So, what now? I asked as we gathered around the bed we'd laid Jackal on. Shouldn't he be, in hospital? That's not gonna work, Abigail answered. He's messed around with his biology so much they wouldn't know what to do with him. But I think I know who does. Who? Louis asked her. And anyone we know? No, I don't know her either. And I doubt she'd come all the way here if I asked. But maybe? She trailed as she looked over at Destiny. Maybe if someone she can't say no to asks, we might have a chance of getting her here in time. You just have to talk your dad into it.
I don't have time for this!
Relic suddenly barked, causing the entire place to rumble.
Tell me where she is. Now!
Excuse you? The bronze-skinned Middle Eastern lady who just materialized in the middle of the dining room shouted at Relic as he walked away and left her standing there in an irate condition. She took a second to calm down and adjusted her long, curly black hair back into place before she fixed her unnatural purple eyes on the rest of us and asked,
"So, which one of you do I skin first?"
"We're really sorry, but we have a problem and you might be the only one who can help. Our friend is hurt very badly and he can't see a regular doctor, so we need to..."
"Yeah, I'm already way ahead of you,"
the lady said, pushing Abigail out of her way. "Well, take me to this friend of yours." "I'm sorry, but who are you exactly?" I asked sheepishly as she examined Jackal from beside me.
"I'm Nehushtan, goddess of healing,"
she answered as she poked at one of his bruises. "I don't think I've ever heard of you before."
"Ever read a Bible?"
she asked, still looking down at Jackal.
"Numbers?
Yeah, I don't blame you."
"What you'll read in that book is as dumb as it sounds. Yahweh sends a bunch of burning snakes with wings to bite the Hebrews, who had pissed him off. So Moses prays, and he tells Moses to take a bronze serpent and stick it on a staff, and whoever touches the serpent gets healed from their bites and won't die."
Wait, why wouldn't he just make the snakes go away and heal the Hebrews himself? Seems kind of overcomplicated to me.
"It's the Bible, sweetie. Try not to think about it too hard."
Anyway, the bronze serpent, that was me.
What really happened was his little army of followers were sick, badly sick. And since he went through all the trouble of convincing them what an all-powerful god he was supposed to be, they came to him for help. Well, he can't do healing, as I'm sure you figured out by now. So he sends a messenger to find me, begs on his knees for me to come to save them. So I did, under the condition that they stop the brigandry. They agree. I heal them. And then they went on to slaughter tribe after tribe like nothing happened. And I go down in that stupid book as nothing more than a metal snake on a stick.
"So you're not on good terms with him either?" Louie asked once she was done.
"Either? What do you mean? What's he up to now?"
she asked as she finally stood up from Jackal.
"Does this have something to do with him?"
"We don't know for sure, but we think it might. He's back to his old schemes again," Abigail said. "So can you help Jackal?"
"Possibly. Your friend here is very strange."
"Yeah, we know," Destiny quipped from across the room.
"I mean physically, biologically more accurately."
"Oh, yeah, that too, I guess. He mentioned it once to me, something about viruses, or it was a long time ago and I wasn't really paying attention," Destiny tried to tell the woman.
"Are you trying to say a retrovirus?"
she asked, walking around the bed to where Destiny was.
"It's a virus that inserts itself into a host's cell DNA. But that by itself wouldn't do all this. So you're a smart one, are you?"
The lady turned and spoke down to the unconscious Jackal.
"Okay, I'll see what I can do. But I don't work miracles, even if I can help him. With his body being so abnormal, it will take a little time. So manage your expectations," she warned us.
"But we don't have time," I spoke up before I knew what I was doing. "We need him awake so he can tell us what happened to Jose."
"And Jose is?"
"Oh, he's who we were looking for when we found Jackal like this. We didn't even know they were together." I answered her. She gave me a cautionary look, warning me not to shout at her again. "We just really need to wake him up. Otherwise, we might not find Jose in time," Louie finished for me when I started to get emotional at the thought. "Don't worry. Me and the rest of the gang are gonna keep looking. So don't you worry about nothing, okay?" He reassured me as he walked over to stand beside Madison. "Now come on. Let's let this nice lady work in peace. Everyone out."
"Before you leave,"
the Nehushtan woman said before we all walked out,
"I have one more question. Where am I exactly?"
"Oh, Los Angeles, California," I answered, already halfway out the door. I can't believe she's sending us out to get Mexican food right now. Madison called over to me as we rode down Griffin Avenue. And of course, the only place open right now is damn right beside Dirty Work Inc. Why couldn't we just get Relic to beam us over there? Because he's already done enough for tonight. He's freaking out bad right now. Best just let him take it easy, I shouted back. Besides, we had to go back to the apartment and get our stuff whilst we're staying at the manor. I didn't want to ask him to run us all over Lincoln Heights the same night Jose goes missing. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. And slow down, Jesus!
Holy shit, what happened to you? El Jefe asked when we walked up to get the food and saw the blood running out of Madison's nose. It's been a long night. Some drunk guys said something to us on our way here, and well,
she assaulted them.
El Jefe finished for me. His real name is Charles, but he makes everyone call him El Jefe. I'm not sure why. We'd gotten used to him since he worked nights, and his place was one of the only places that served Mexican food this late in the area. So after a while, we ended up on friendly terms.
They got a few good shots in too,
Madison argued, with a sniffle as she tried to tuck some of the blood back under her nose.
Yeah, you tell that to the judge. Anyway, what's with the calling? Normally it comes in through the app you guys use. You working tonight or what?
He asked as he put the order on the counter.
Nah, this one's por bono,
Madison said, making LFA pause halfway through pressing the buttons on the register.
Madison?
He said, wiggling his finger for her to lean closer.
Did you just say poor boner?
Huh? Yeah. I got arrested back in New York, and the guy who took my case said he was doing it por bono. You know, I couldn't afford a lawyer because I was poor, and boner's a word for someone who screws up all the time. Por bono.
Oh my God, I groaned, shrinking into the corner off to the side from collateral embarrassment.
Madison? No, little closer.
It's pro bono! It means for the public good. What is wrong with you?
He shouted into her ear.
Also, no. What you're thinking of is gratis. Just take the damn food. You're making me tired.
He sighed, pushing the bag across the counter.
Yeah, whatever,
she said, as she picked it up and walked back outside to her bike.
Hey, Mulan! Mulan!
El Jefe called over before I could walk out. Oh wait, I look Chinese now. He's talking to me, I realized before I turned around.
Huh? Me?
I asked, pointing at myself.
You taking care of that girl okay? She might be tough and scrappy and all, but god damn.
He told me with another sigh as he shook his head.
I know. Deep down she's a good person though. Deep down.
Before we could get back to our bikes, Madison's phone rang.
Hey, meet me at the shop. Louis told me what's going on.
He has a way with words, doesn't he?
I asked as she hung up and started to roll her bike next door.
How the fuck did you two get here so damn fast?
He asked when he drove up and saw us waiting for him in the alley.
Is that from the Mexican joint on the other side of the thrift store?
He added, pointing down at the bag Madison was holding.
Whatever. The other two are supposed to be here before long.
He told us right before Destiny poofed into the alley along with a very shaken Louis. Well, Jose calls it poof, but it's more like kind of like a fuse on a firecracker, but if it burned a little faster. It's a lot more ominous and less innocent than he makes it out to be. I looked over to see Louis, eyes wide open in alarm, as his cheeks both suddenly puffed all the way out.
Oh, you just barfed in your mouth, didn't you?
I asked, the thought of it making my stomach a little upset.
Do not swallow. If you do, I'm gonna... Just don't.
I warned him, pointing to an area towards the end of the alley for him to expel. The last member of Dirty Work Inc. showed up whilst Louis was hurling into a trash can, which caused some confusion.
So, why the hell am I standing here watching Louis barf his guts out? I gotta sleep sometime, you know,
he said as he walked over to stand next to the rest of them.
Seriously, Chris, I'm tired. What the hell do you want?
Take it easy. I wouldn't have woken you up and called you out here if it wasn't important. So, for...
Actually... I stopped Chris before he could get too into it. Do I have to be here for this? I've got food that's probably getting cold, and you guys kinda give me the willies anyway. No offense.
Yeah, sure. Get out of here,
he answered, waving me away. Okay, thank you. I'll see you back at the manor, I told Madison as I swung my leg over my bike. Wait, you don't have to do that. I can take you back, Destiny said before I could leave. Don't want the food to get any colder, do you? I groaned, turning to look at Louie, Chris, and Johnny, who were all shaking their heads slowly with a do not do it look on their faces. I don't know, I hear it's unpleasant. Maybe I just give you the food to take, then I ride back myself? Oh, quit being a baby, Destiny huffed as she walked over to me. Come on, I can see how tired you are. You shouldn't be riding across town on your own like that.
Okay, everyone.
I could hear Chris start to say from near the shop door before something felt like it was pulling me outside, and 1,000 miles an hour. And then the puking started as a wave of soreness washed over my entire body in the middle of the mansion's front lawn. Oh my god, it's so much worse! It's so much worse than what Jose said it was! I yelled into the night air as I rolled back and forth in the cool grass. Holy shit, why would Jose ever do this on purpose? It's like you microwave my insides! I continued shouting before seeing a small stream of blood running down my arm and feeling a burning pain in my shoulder. You're bleeding! What's wrong? I could hear Destiny shout down at me. That's never happened before, she said as she picked me up off the ground. Oh, Lisa, I think you're coming apart. Let's get you inside. Maybe what's-her-face can help. Yep, definitely looks like she's coming apart at the seams. Noshton said through a mouth of food as she looked at the open place on my shoulder and dabbed the blood away. What did you do to her? I didn't do anything, I just poofed her here. I'm sorry, you whatted her? She asked Destiny, turning away from me and focusing on her. Poofed, you know? Destiny answered before poofing up beside me on the other side of the room. Poof! And that's a lot easier on you than your passengers, I take it? She asked Destiny with a harsh tone in her voice. Well, there hasn't been a lot of positive feedback, no. What a surprise, she sighed. Well, the good news is that it doesn't look like you're in danger of unraveling like a knit sweater. But the bad news, this isn't something I can fix. Whatever did this, whoever did this, it's way above my pay grade. I've never seen anything like this, she grimly explained. You might want to go find the person responsible. But before she could finish, there was a loud resounding bang on the manor's front doors. It's so late? Really? Who the hell? Destiny asked, puffing away for a moment before popping back up in the middle of the room. You're not going to believe this. After a minute it took us to get downstairs and to the door, I found myself, once again, standing in front of Victor Frankenstein, who is now filthy, dusty, cut, bruised, bloody, and smoldering. The look on his face was so icy it froze my blood in my veins the second I saw him. Oh, lucky me, I whimpered as my leg began to tremble. I'm sorry, am I losing my mind, or are you that actor? Nehushtan asked as she walked up behind us to see one of the most famous people in the world standing at the front door, smoke still softly billowing off his tattered lab coat. Ha! It's better you don't think too hard about it. Excuse me, he said as he pushed his way inside and towards the nearest bathroom before stopping and glaring at the skin on my shoulder. What the hell did you do to my work? That was healed! That might have been my fault, Destiny admitted, causing him to snap that razor-sharp glare directly at her. And I'm very, very sorry. Ow! Ow! I hissed as Victor ran the last stitch through it and tied it off.
This is the last one you get for free, he warned me as he put the small medical pack away. I'm serious. You, he added, pointing at me and Destiny. Don't mess this up again.
What the hell happened to you?
Abigail suddenly asked from the top of the staircase. Oh, my, Destiny poofed me and my seam tried to come loose.
Not you. I was talking to the movie star in the burnt lab coat.
Oh, I don't know. He just showed up like that, I told her as I put my shirt back on. Wait, how do you know each other? Every time I think things can't get any more ridiculous, I sighed once she was done explaining everything to me. You, him, Festus, Jackal, the Count, and what's his name? I think I'm gonna go take a nap and get back to looking for Jose, said with a heavy sigh as he walked to the room Jose used the first time he stayed at the manor. It just seemed familiar. As I tried to get comfortable, someone poofed into the center of the room. The long red hair made it easy to tell who it was at a glance. Oh, there you are, Prophecy said as she bounced over to me with an armful of clothes. Here, these should fit. Oh, thanks, I said, taking them from her and putting them down on the bed beside me. So I guess you know what's going on? Yeah, Destiny told me. She's having a tough time with it too. She told me as she sat down beside me. Come on, I need to show you something. Then I'll let you sleep, she said, standing right back up. I feel like she just sat down to lull me into a false sense of security. Where are we going? I asked from a few steps behind her as we walked through the halls of the mansion. The library. There's something in there I want to show you, she answered as she nearly skipped across the floor. It's important, you'll see. Don't worry. It's nothing weird. What's going on over there? I asked as we walked inside and saw 3 separate bookshelves in the middle of the room. Dad gave us each our own shelf. But what we're here for is this, she explained, pointing towards a small glass dome. Under the glass was an old book resting on a silk cushion. You know who wrote this? She asked as she took the book out of its casing. Oh. Destiny's only had 3 boyfriends her whole life, even though she's a little over 300 years old. One was when she was still kind of young. But she spent a lot of time with him since he was the son of one of the lawyers that helped my dad buy his properties in England. Little Johnny Harker Jr. It was never anything serious, though, she explained as she carefully flipped through the pages of the book. The third is Jose. But the second one was a poet. And this is the only record of anything he ever wrote. It's one of several sample copies that were printed and mailed out before. She paused for a moment to find the word she was looking for. He had some kind of mental breakdown, lost his mind and burned the entire publishing house down with him. The book was already on its way to Destiny when it happened. Once she was finished speaking, I had to take a minute to put everything together before I could say anything for myself. And even then, all I could come up with was, so Destiny is probably not in a very good place now. No, not at all, she finished for me before gingerly handing me the book. She was messed up for a long time after that, and I need your help keeping an eye on her. She's prone to act before she thinks. Yeah, I'll do that, I told her as I flipped through the book. Hey, these aren't bad, I said to myself as I read a few of the poems. And then I noticed something. Hey, look at this. It's like the last page is stuck to the cover or something. Huh? Oh yeah, that's weird. It's like it was held in place by a mild glue, so it'd stick but still come off if it had to. Should we? I asked nervously. I mean, given the situation and all. Hand it here. If something happens, you can blame it on me, she instructed as she held out her hands. As she took the book from me, she looked back over her shoulder to see if we were still alone. Once she was sure, she slowly peeled the page away from the cover a little at a time. The pages separated, we began to see the words hidden underneath. "Hey, I think it's another poem," I said as more and more of the handwritten words became visible. Yeah, you're right. But why would he hide it?" she asked as she pulled the final bit away and read the words at the top, just above the poem. "In the past weeks, I have been plagued, tormented by visions. Awake or as I sleep, I cannot escape them. The things I see, the pain they cause, what they tell me to do. Destiny, I know you won't understand what is about to happen. I know you'll be confused and hurt. I know there would never be any way to make you understand. I only know this one thing. I am so very, very sorry. I can only leave you this book and this one last poem I hear when I see the visions of mine. I only wish it could have been more, that we could have spent, at the very least, the rest of my life together." "What does the poem say?" I asked once Prophecy was done reading. Then she handed the book back to me, and I read for myself. "In the wild, no food nor bed, a broken child was left for dead, a spark of hope left in her eye, as she bid the world goodbye. A life of pain she had to live, for no love they had to give. To broken heartbeat lullaby, she cursed the world to burn and die. From the ground she rose and said, with hate and bliss I'll be their dread. Their happy lives I'll come to spoil, when village cinders scorch the soil. They'll wail and wallow in their streets, their cities crumbling at their feet. In their sorrow I'll find joy, their very lives shall be my toy. They'll beg for mercy from the pyre, but colds my heart and warms the fire."
Help support the author on Patreon. Link in the description below.